Good morning everyone, my name is Teoh and today I will present about the topic CPTPP, RCEP and beyond, and how these two agreements will affect Australia export and what is the industry will be affected. First, let me introduce some of the background information about the CPTPP and RCEP agreement. The full name for CPTPP is Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. CPTPP is one of the main important trade agreements that emerged from the core of the original TPP after the United States withdrawn from it in 2017. This agreement was signed on 8 March in 2018 in Santiago, Chile, and came into force on 30 December 2018. It includes 11 member countries. The challenge for Australia to sign this agreement, which will increase the competition in key industry, and it will impact the economy of Australia. The RCEP agreement negotiations were officially launched at the Asian Summit held in Cambodia on 20 December 2012. This was a proposed FTA between 10 Asian members countries and 6 of their major trading partners, which are China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and India. The desire is to create an overall economic partnership that is comprehensive and mutually beneficial, bring together increased trade and investment among the participating countries. Impact because of this agreement on Australia. Because of this, it would increase the trade network of Australia, thus making competition somehow intensive, especially in agriculture industry. Well, there are many plus points as far as Australia signed the agreement on CPTPP and RCEP agreement that could strengthen its trade network, but it also brings in some challenge to Australia, given the fact that it would simply increase competitiveness in the key industry with country members that will ultimately affect the economic system in Australia. Now I will present about the current state of affairs of that issue. Well, as we know, Australia's main export products are agriculture products, and it has established a strong trade economy with abundant natural resources. At the same time, Australia is very dependent on natural resources export, such as agriculture products and mining. Therefore, Australia used free trade agreement to promote economic growth and is very actively involved in regional economic integration to reduce Australia's geographical isolation, especially through the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which is RCEP, and also the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, CPTPP. Since the member countries that signed the two agreements are almost also depend on natural resources export, such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and other countries. This has increased Australia's competition with other member countries, especially with Asian countries with lower labor and production costs. This has also directly led to a decline in Australia's income in the agriculture sector. This decline has directly affected Australian farmers who are facing pricing pressure in a more competitive market. In addition to agriculture products, mining and resources industry, manufacture and service industry are also affected. Next, I will present about the impacted industry. Intense competition has eroded Australian market share and put a lot of pressure on Australian agriculture industry. The Free Trade Agreement CPTPP and RCEP have consequently placed tremendous competitive pressure on wheat, dairy product and beef export of Australia. In history, Australia has benefited from preferential tariff in major markets such as Vietnam, especially for wheat. After the participation of Vietnam in the CPTPP agreement, other member economies like Canada received the same level of tariff-free access to Vietnamese market, thereby threatening this comparative advantage that Australia had in the past year. Besides that, after the execution of the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, European countries also export wheat to Vietnam on preferential terms, reducing figures the share of Australia wheat in the market. In addition to wheat, the whole agriculture sector of Australia has been facing the pressure from the lower production costs in the competing country, with countries like Vietnam and Malaysia competing with the similar product but at the lower cost. The environment is very competitive and will mean that Australian producers have to lift productivity and reduce the cost just to remain the profit. As confirmed by Timshina and Kulas, the degree of competition from other countries also influence industry competitiveness. In a report presented to the Australian Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, it has been said that the industry needs to adopt advanced technology and sustainability use of natural resources if it is to remain competitive in this increasingly crowded market. Next, I will present how it affects the Australia country economic. Under the CPTPP and RCEP agreement, member countries have been actively strengthening their agriculture sector, and countries such as Vietnam, New Zealand, and Malaysia are becoming strong competitors to Australia. For example, Vietnam's focus on joining the CPTPP was to expand its natural resources and the agriculture export, especially targeting markets where Australia previously had a leading position, such as wheat export. Vietnam tariff cuts have since enabled Canada to increase the wheat export to Vietnam, making it more difficult for Australia to maintain its foothold. Importers in the Asia-Pacific region are increasingly turning to supply with competitive quality standards and high cost effectiveness, positioning these countries as preferred trading partners in many cases. New Zealand has also strengthened its agriculture export, especially dairy export, using the CPTPP and the RCEP agreement to diversify and consolidate its market coverage in Asia. Directly competing with Australia dairy export, these trade dynamics reveal a new competitive landscape with countries within the CPTPP and the RCEP agreement benefiting from open market but also facing intense competition which affected Australia country economic. Next, we move into the next part, which is the data part. According to this data as shown in the slide in August 2024, Australia's seasonally adjusted balance on goods saw a modest increase of 8 million, driven by a slight excess of export over import. Despite this increase, the agriculture export sector faced significant decline, with overall rural goods dropping by 3.9%. The key agriculture categories such as other rural and the meat and meat preparation decreased by 7.5% and 3.7% respectively, while cereal grain also experienced a slight dip. This trend highlights growing challenge for Australia agriculture export, partly due to increased competition in the Asian Pacific region from countries like New Zealand and Vietnam, especially with the CPTPP and RCEP agreement. This situation poses potential risks for Australia's trade surplus and could impact economic growth if agriculture export continue to face pressure. Next data, according to this August 2024 Australia Bureau of Statistics ABS report, highlight a decline in agriculture export, with rural goods down by 3.9% or 219 million. The sharpest decrease was seen in others rural products, which fell by 7.5%, which is almost 196 million, indicating that non-core agriculture export faced the most significant pressure. Meat export also dropped by 3.7%. The cereal grain decreased by 1.1%, suggesting that Australia's competitive edge in these categories might be eroding due to intensified competition with CPTPP and RCEP market. For instance, Australia's wheat export to Vietnam now have faced strong competition from Canada, which benefits from the same tariff-free status under the CPTPP agreement. Next, this graph illustrates Australia's goods balance as of August 2024, showing a peak in earlier years and a noticeable decline since then. As of August 2024, the seasonally adjusted balance was 5,644 million. This downward trend in the good balance, particularly in agriculture export, underscore the pressure Australia faced in maintaining its trade surplus amid intensifying the competition from the CPTPP and RCEP countries, such as New Zealand and Vietnam. Increased export options from this country, which often come with competitive pricing and similar tariff exemption, have posed challenge for Australia agriculture export, especially in key productions like wheat and meat. The reduction in the good balance is significant as it may signal a reduced trade surplus, potentially impacting Australia's broader economic growth and employment in the agriculture sectors. With agriculture exports seeing decline in categories like meat, which down by 3.7%, and other rural goods down 7.5%. Australia's competitiveness in this international market appear weakened. As global integration within trade agreement countries, this trend may proceed unless Australia explores strategies to bolster its productivity and adapt to the changing trade environment. This development could influence Australia's economic stability and highlight the needs of innovation and investment in sustainability agriculture practice to enhance the competitiveness. Next is the recommendation part, and the following recommendation may help the Australian agriculture industry become more competitive globally. The government can focus on several strategic areas to improve the global competitiveness of Australian agriculture. First, investment in research, development, and extension is considered a very important driver of innovation and productivity growth. Through such support for R&D and engineering, Australia will be able to accelerate the rate at which agriculture enterprise adopt advanced technology and practice. This will help farmers increase production and efficiency, which is also becoming increasingly important in the context of fierce global competition. For example, precision farming equipment that helps to achieve optimal use of resources will reduce production costs and improve the quality of agriculture products. In the long run, it will also lead to sustainable competitiveness, thereby maintaining soil health, water resources, and etc. It is also important to prepare for the risks associated with climate change. For example, crop rotation, diversification, and better water management will reduce shock and help farmers stabilize production or reduce vulnerability to extreme climate conditions. In addition to technology investment, farmer training and education programs will provide them with the necessary capabilities to enable them to use new tools more effectively. Further strengthening the industry, this initiative can promote the establishment of resilient agriculture system, making Australian agriculture more competitive in international market while promoting environmental sustainability. In conclusion, Australia sign off the CPTPP and RCEP agreement can indeed strengthen its trade network for Australia, but it also brings considerable challenge. Therefore, Australia must have a way to increase its competitiveness in order to truly enjoy the benefit bring from the CPTPP and the RCEP agreement. That's all for me. Thank you. This is my reference.